to 28 years later, our look back at the franchise that redefined the term zombie. I'm your host, Ashton Hobley. Join me today, John Black. Yep. I don't know that that's the tone that
It's not,
they're
but
using this, really.
I do feel like I did it last week in that first episode, and now I've just got to continue it. So,
Yeah. Today, we're talking about 28 weeks later, the follow-up, which was much more readily available than the first one. So yeah, let's just dive straight in. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's talk about 28 weeks later.
Welcome to London.
We're heading into District 1. Although District 1 is completely safe, outside the security zone, London remains a wasteland. There are a large number of bodies still left to be cleared from the original outbreak of infection.
You're nearly home.
How old are you, Andy?
12.
I think that makes you the youngest person in the entire country.
Welcome back.
And we wish you luck in your new lives.
I missed you so much.
This is what it's all about, gentlemen. Family starting again.
Did you like it?
It's amazing.
Are you going to tell us what happened to Mum?
The last infected human died 6 months ago.
We weren't here 6 months ago.
Have you come into direct contact with the infected?
First released 26th of April 2007. Directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. Screenplay by Ron Joffe, Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, E.L. Levine, and Jesus Elmo. Starring Robert Carlyle, Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, Harold Perrineau, Catherine McCormick, Macintosh Muggleton, Imogen Poots, and Idris Elba. 6 months after the original epidemic, the rage virus has all but annihilated the population of the British Isles. Nevertheless, the US Army declares the danger past, and American soldiers arrive to restore order and begin reconstructions. Refugees return to British soil, but one of them carries a deadly secret. The virus is not gone. It is even more dangerous than before. Dylan, what are your overall thoughts on 28 weeks later?
I enjoyed. I've never. I know there's a lot of, people have said that I've seen people say that they hate this film and so on and so stuff over the years, but I think it's an enjoyable film that's just nowhere near as game changing, or even trying to be as different as the first one. This one plays a lot more safer within what would be considered a standard, I guess, zombie action film, which works, I think, for helping take the smaller scale story of the first one and sort of expand it somewhat into what we have here. So I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first one, but I still enjoy it. I think the characters are good. I think the core cast is good and everything. I enjoy the people we have here, so that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one feels a little bit more just like a straight zombie film as we know it today. It just feels like they took the concept and like ramped it up. And the fact that, neither Danny Boyle or Alice Garland are involved creatively in directing or screenwriting says a lot, I suspect. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. Huh?
You say that.
I say that. I mean, surely producers or whatever,
They were like on the back end. Also, Danny Boyle, there's I don't know if this is in it. You can probably find the YouTube video with the interview or something, but he's talked about how he actually did shoot some second unit directed stuff for this, but is credited as well. So,
but yeah, it just feels like they wanted to go bigger, bolder, that kind of stuff for this one. So, I mean, interesting conceit to bring it back because it's bring back the disease. Again, the Last of Us tie-ins. It's like, it's incredible. A kid who certain people are immune to the disease. It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, let's dive into the plot. I'm sure we'll find things to talk about. But yeah, also crazy that all these actors were, again, very much unknown or lesser known at the time. Likes of Jeremy Renner and Rose Byrne, and it would definitely Imogen Poots, and Idris Elba has a short cameo well before it becomes in the Idris Elba we know. So during the initial outbreak of the rage virus, Alice, her husband Don, and 4 more survivors hide in a cottage on the outskirts of London. They hear a terrified boy pounding at their door and let him in. Minutes later, infected people who have followed the boy break in. Don pleads with Alice to leave the boy, but she refuses, so he escapes on a boat alone, leaving the others to die.
I do love the opening to this film, though.
Yeah, fucking intense.
Really, yeah, I think it's like when it just, something's going to go eventually as you're like watching it. It's like once they let in a boy, you're like, what's going to happen? And then once it all kicks off, and just that shot, I think, of Robert Carlyle running down the hill and just infected behind him and everything like that, and then jumping in the boat. Like I think it's weird. I don't know if it says it kind of says a lot about the rest of the film, but having not watched this for so long, there was only a couple of moments I could remember in the top of my head. It's like and the one that stood out the most from this film was this. Just the running down the hill is the most prominent moment, and then the only other moments I can really remember is honestly like the because I haven't watched it for like 10 years. It's like the football stadium from the ending, and then the Jeremy Renner dying. Sort of the 3 moments I remember the most. But
yeah, I didn't mention it last week, but the score, like this piece of music in particular,
yeah. So this
they bring
music
back multiple times.
Yeah, and no, so I mentioned, I think I did chuck this in last week. So this piece of music has a title. It's used in the end credit to the first film. It's then brought back several times throughout this film because it got so much praise, I guess, or whatever. Became such a
wasn't it
big
over
part
like
of the first film.
the section with Cillian Murphy raiding the house?
No, I think it only plays at the end of the film. Is the thing. Like I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's only played once at the end. But then they bring it back several times throughout this. And yeah, the funnest fact is that now other movies and video game trailers and all sorts of stuff have also used this song. So, but it did start in the first movie.
All right. But yeah, great opening. Like, obviously you knew shit was going to get tense, and like, I don't know, what was their plan? Like, maybe the dude who jumps off he goes to the boat, doesn't he? They could have just stayed in the top of the roof. Like, I don't think they could have climbed.
They said, let's just head down to the Winchester, grab a pint to drink, and wait for this all to blow over.
Yeah. And I was tense the entire time, like, until they finally cut away from him driving on the boat, because I'm like, maybe at some point someone's going to jump out and hit him in the boat, clothesline him. But yeah, that never eventuated. So when the infected die of starvation, NATO forces take control of Great Britain and begin rebuilding. 28 weeks later, after the outbreak, the US military, under the command of Brigadier General Stone, brings in settlers and refugees. Among the new arrivals are Don and Alice's children, Tammy and Andy, who were out of the country during the outbreak. They are admitted to District 1, a heavily guarded safe zone on the Isle of Dogs, while they are united with their father, who lies about the circumstances of their mother's presumed death. Sergeant Doyle, a Delta Force sniper, is among the soldiers guarding District 1. To be fair to old Don, I'm pretty sure was dead.
I mean,
and in that situation,
yeah,
she's on the other side of a bunch of zombies. Yeah. There's not much you can do.
No.
You need to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? What was he going to do?
No, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, he would have died with them is the thing. But yeah,
really, it's a zombie's fault for like not killing her sooner. So you don't see them banging on the door, on the window, screaming, "Come back!" Why are they giving him so much time? Also, fuck that boy. They should have just. Why are you going back to rescue him? He literally brought all these zombies to the door. You know?
Yeah, his whole family, I think.
Yeah.
His whole thing. What do you think of the whole, I guess, the conceit after the first movie that, you know, the zombies do starve out is something that's mentioned in the first one, that they then follow through to this. But then also, I guess, just the whole American army comes in to save the day thing.
You know? I mean, they're the ones with the resources to do it. So, what, this is 2007, you know?
Yeah.
The height of US Army doing stuff all over the world, so it doesn't surprise me. You know, and then just the thought process of the way they're kind of tackling it. Like, we'll bring back civilians, we'll set them up in the main London streets, like, where we control, you know, while we're still cleaning up all the bodies that are all over the place, I guess. Because obviously they're in a big fucking skyscraper. Like, you know, it's just that one apartment block that all the survivors are in, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, crazy, I guess. They had to clear that whole building out of dead people, and like obviously you see them the burning bodies and that kind of stuff. So, and then you all these snipers watching, just in case somebody turns. I don't know what. Like,
well, there's still they think there's still infected.
There's still a chance.
They didn't say they've killed off all the infected. They said that from most of them.
Here's where my like of these kids shifted. Tammy and Andy sneak out of the safe zone and return to their former house, hoping to recover a photograph of Alice among other belongings.
Yeah, so this is I agree, because it's like dumb kids doing dumb shit. They're trying to follow the usual thing, like where kids ruin everything.
Kids ruin everything.
Just look at Jurassic Park and whatever.
This is a classic story of following the rules.
Yeah. I do think the easiest way to fix this, though, in my mind, would have been to have it where they don't understand what's actually happened, but they never say or don't say this, you know. Like if they'd said, "Oh, the news of what's happened in Great Britain is, there was just an outbreak of like a terrible flu, and we had to quarantine the place off." You know what I mean? Like if it made it, like it would make their actions make a bit more sense.
There's an element of like, we know something happened, we don't really believe the full story, you know.
But I don't think they really, if they'd attempted to do that to help justify their actions just for one quick scene, even potentially helps this, but they don't. They just head off.
It's like we could have waited till eventually we got that section was cleared, and then we could go back. You know what I mean? Come on, you've been there one day, not even one day, half a day,
the hour, I think.
Well, they're slept, to be fair. Inside, they discover Alice alive in a delirious state. Just as soldiers, alerted by Doyle, reach them and return them to District 1. How's she back at that house?
Well, she walked, I guess.
That's crazy.
Well, we never really found out where and why Don and her ended up in that cabin area. Like maybe they were on they were just on a weekend getaway when it all happened, and that's where they happened to have been staying, which would imply that wherever it is, you know, a distance, but not impossible to walk back, sort of.
Yeah. You also have to assume their house is close to London.
Yeah.
Anyway. Alice is quarantined and tested by Scarlett, a U.S. Army medical officer, and found to be an asymptomatic character of the rage virus. Don makes an unauthorized visit to Alice, again, someone breaking the rules, begging her to forgive him. After kissing Alice, Don is immediately infected by her saliva and brutally kills her before going on a rampage.
Yeah, so they justify this and how it plays out by having that quick scene earlier where he's telling his kids he has access to everything because he's the the fucking electric man or whatever the hell his actual job is. I still think even if he had access to most of the building, having access to a lab
The
facility
military
like that,
stuff, yeah,
yeah,
unlikely.
Unlikely. Yeah.
Also, did it come across kind of rapey? Because she's in like this delirious state and can't really talk much. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you." Well, tongue in your throat, you know.
Sure.
You know? Terrible. And then he beats her up.
Well, yeah, he does.
None of these other zombies have tried to kill her in that way. They just beat her and they just leave her alone, I guess. You know?
Well, yeah, this is the important thing, right? That because she's asymptomatic, the version of the virus she's carried and the version that she hands off is different. And we tell that throughout the rest of the film because Don is a smarter, different type of infected.
I guess.
And that's like he's able to track people down, make smarter moves that you see throughout the film. Yeah, so I'll say this is the one thing I'm sort of intrigued to see how they build upon, because the whole like, oh, the zombies starve out and all that sort of stuff, but they do have here that they show that the virus is mutating and has mutated into the version that Don turns into. So
Scarlet rescues Tammy and Andy from an isolation room, theorizing that they might have inherited genetic immunity to the virus that could lead to a cure. Definitely not set up by, oh, you've got this thing with your eye. It's a genetic thing. Does one of your parents have it?
It's on the poster too, so it was a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Don has instigated a domino effect of rapid infections, killing numerous refugees and military personnel. Unable to contain the chaos, Stone orders everyone to be shot indiscriminately. Doyle refuses to comply and leaves his post to assist a small group of fleeing survivors. A panicked Delta Force sniper kills two of the group, but Doyle returns the fire and kills him, leaving himself, Scarlet, Tammy, Andy, and another survivor, Sam. The group reaches the edge of District 1 as the Air Force firebombs the whole zone. Don survives and follows them into the abandoned London. I will say the whole scene where they get locked up, all the survivors get locked up in this room, and then they don't check the other fucking door, which is easily broken into. Come on.
Also, people just
just everybody's dead
from the background of this room.
Yeah. Crazy. So, yeah. Them firebombing the city, you know, I'm sure elicits emotions, and like seeing all these people burning. A lot of burning people alive.
They had a lot of stunt people burning in this film.
Yeah. Doyle's colleague Flynn flies his helicopter to Regent's Park to rescue Doyle, but tells him to abandon the others. As a crowd of infected people discover the 5 escapees, a desperate Sam latches onto the flying helicopter, but is infected when Flynn uses his rotor blades to kill the crowd. Awesome.
Do you recognize him from anything?
I assume he was in the season of Walking Dead, right? But I feel like he's been a character actor in a bunch of stuff.
Link from The Matrix.
Yeah, character actors in a bunch of stuff. See, in Lost, he's currently from. He's in Oz. And you can't say he's linked from The Matrix. He's from The Matrix show and the Revolutions, you know, which is different.
Yeah, because he's Doze's younger. No, was his younger brother?
Oh, yeah, he was in the Constantine TV show. Seen a season of surely. Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't recall him being in The Walking Dead. But I stopped watching.
Apologies. You look like an actor who would have been in the
What? Because he's in one zombie thing, he'll be in all zombie things?
Yeah. Where am I? Yeah, so killing them all with a helicopter, which is fantastic. Flint instructs Doyle to meet in Wembley Stadium alone, but Doyle keeps the trio with him. They break into an abandoned Volvo V70. Interesting.
That's so
this
specific.
article has been so specific.
That is so specific. What the fuck?
To escape nerve gas has been released to kill the infected, but are unable to start the car. As soldiers with flamethrowers draw near, Doyle exits the car to push start it and is burned alive.
Yep.
Scarlett and the children take shelter from aerial gunfire in the London Underground, navigating the darkness with a night vision rifle scope. Don ambushes them, killing Scarlett and biting Andy. Tammy is forced to kill Don. Andy becomes an asymptomatic carrier like Alice. Vowing to stick together, Tammy and Andy reach Flynn at Wembley Stadium, who reluctantly flies them to France.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very tense ending to the film, and like the whole, I guess, darkness of the underground, and only being able to see through the rifle as there's dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah,
pretty weird, pretty scary shit.
Just get the first person view, nearly just Rose Byrne getting beaten to death.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do get that moment of recognition, I guess, from Don. You know, who again sees Alice, who has been hallucinating of throughout the entire film.
I'm saying he's a smart zombie.
28 days later, a French voice requesting help is heard through the radio in Flynn's abandoned helicopter. A group of infected people emerge from a Paris metro station near the foot of the Eiffel Tower, revealing that the virus has spread to the mainland Europe.
The kids, man.
Fucking kids ruining everything.
Yeah, ruining the world.
And it's all these asymptomatic people. That's like how COVID happens, you know? It's like, I'm not sick. You're carrying the disease without realizing you're carrying the disease and infecting everybody, you know?
Wear a mask so you don't cough all over people and spread the virus.
Yeah. Who was he making out with? That's what
It's a good question. Good question. Just going around spitting on baguettes? Like, what are we doing?
Spitting on people. Yeah. Yeah. I guess now I have more questions about the next movie.
That's good because you're about to watch it. So
yeah, like, well, I think at the end of the last movie, we didn't know for certain that the zombies starved out. Now we do.
Yeah,
you would assume everybody in Britain has definitely starved out in 28 years, and we're assuming that the movie is set in Britain, right?
Yeah, it's set in Britain.
So why are they scared of any zombies being around?
Well, because there are zombies around. And I mean, we see...
How? After 28 years?
Yeah, I think they have to answer the... that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to them...
They went into that room, the warehouse full of food. Like, let's eat this instead. And we'll be fine.
Maybe. I mean, honestly... you could be like, man, they've really shot themselves in the foot by saying these zombies starve, but then they can as easily just go, yeah, over years on mutation, the zombies learned they didn't need food anymore, and everyone would be like, oh, whatever. Yeah.
Or like they hibernate or something.
Yeah.
You know, until they feel a food source near.
Obviously, you see the very thin zombie that everyone thought was Cillian Murphy in the trailer. So it's not like they are well fed.
No. I mean, this is good spot as any. How do you feel about them revealing that Cillian Murphy is going to be in the second and third movies in this trilogy?
I'm very much of the mind of I've never really cared if he came back or not, because like his character was fine, but there's no huge like, oh man, I can't wait to see what that character. You know, they're so important to the series. I come back. I think it's exciting just from a standpoint of how far he's come in his career to be returning to one of his first things with one of his earliest directors. Well, not in the director role, but I guess like within the confines of the product. I think that's somewhat exciting, especially now that he's got the Oscar and everything. So he's just such a bigger name returning to it. But as a character point, I'm like, I don't really.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about this film?
No, I think it's compared to the ending of the first one, the first one leaves you more hopeful, I think.
Yes. This one's like, the world is now completely fucked.
Yeah.
But we're okay here in Australia.
Yeah. I mean, they were trying to make a sequel for this for so long. There was a stage.
It really feels like there was a missed opportunity for 28 months later.
They were going to do it. They kept trying to, for many different reasons. I think most being people in suits. They never, obviously, and it's taken out this long for us to get a proper sequel to this. And the franchise, the IP rights, and all these weird sort of issues that have held this back over the years. But I mean, you can tell by the end of this film that it was obviously set up like for them to do a sequel within the next couple of years. But yeah, they never did.
All right. Let us know your thoughts on 28 Weeks Later by finding us on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com or find us on other social media at Explosion Pod. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. So leave us 5 stars, and you could leave 5 stars to just help people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, remember, kids fucking suck.
That's much fun, isn't it?
Oh, damn it.